Welcome to the Chi for Two podcast. We're a group of Chi for Two embodiment coaches that look at pop culture with the Chi for Two lens. I'm Chelsea Szegidewicz.
I'm Fred Shelton.
I'm Cas Pryor.
And this is the Chi for Two podcast. Chi for Two is a mindful embodiment method.
We borrow the term Chi from East Asian traditions, meaning energy in and around the body.
For two brings attention to how our chi or life force energy is affected by the two-person interaction.
And today we're talking about the 1996 film Independence Day, right in time for the 4th of July, as we know it in America. You guys.
Correct.
A lot here.
Yeah. We're recording on July 1st, which I guess would have been the last normal day on the timeline for Independence Day because it starts July 2nd.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
What a funny 1990s movie. It comes in with the song It's the End of the World as We Know It by REM, which it just took me right back to the 90s. It was a wonderful feeling and kind of a scary feeling.
I got the Fruitopia machine. That was the thing I saw that was like, oh, that takes me back.
Yeah, the Fruitopia background. Yeah. We meet this movie where they're reaching a radio signal from another world. And they're like, what is going on? Are there aliens involved here? And they're freaking out. And it turns out there's aliens from another world. Now we're at the White House. And there's a young white male president who's in charge of the military.
He's a military guy.
He's a military.
It becomes apparent he's not good at the politics side.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And his approval ratings are quite low.
It is interesting that this very movie, especially when it has to do with aliens, is kind of juxtapositioning that politics versus military idea and concept. You know, since the movie, we've all lived that very thing in all of the presidential reigns, so to speak, the presidencies that we've lived through. That theme is major in terms of how do we interact with other countries. Now we're talking other life forms, right? And so I have thought for a long time that it would take an alien invasion for earthly humanity to get on board in terms of seeing each other. But anyway, yeah, I like Bill Pullman. And, military versus politics, it's a big question. I haven't been voted in to answer it, but it's certainly something that, we'll talk about how they handle it throughout the movie.
Yeah. You'd think a pandemic would bring people together too, right? And it kind of did for a minute.
For a minute, it did. Unfortunately, I do think with, COVID, our representative states' rights country enabled all the states to have different rules. So, my sibling that was in New York had a very different experience than mine here in Georgia versus my other siblings that are in Denver, Colorado, right? So, but yes, in terms of all of us having to be on the lookout, wearing masks, being at home, doing work and stuff like that. Yeah, it did kind of bring us together in a shared experience sort of way.
Yeah. Everybody stay calm.
How do you? Yeah. I mean,
in a situation like that.
You look at that view of the big ship in the sky, and how do you stay in your body? I don't know. Ideally the leaders would be able to stay in their body enough to be able to make good decisions about it. And this president did regret some of his decisions. It was interesting to try to see this from a Chi for Two lens because I'm very much just like watching this movie for the ride. It's not all the smartest writing ever, but some things really, like, why did this movie have the level of popularity that it did? I was looking back. So I saw this movie when it came out when I was 8 years old. So now everybody knows how old I am. And And I guess I thought it was fine. My parents liked it. I guess I liked it. I don't know. I was reading on Reddit, and so many people remember just loving it and thinking it was the best movie ever and wanting to watch it over and over and over again. And I had fun with it. I really like Jeff Goldblum. Um, and he really lucked out for a few years there in the 90s, just being in all these movies. He had just been in Jurassic Park, and now he's in this one. And those were the two like highest grossing movies. Um, Independence Day was right behind Jurassic Park. Um, and apparently their ad campaign was super great. Like they had like fake like news stories about like the aliens, sort of like a War of the Worlds kind of thing. So everybody was really excited to see it. There were lines out the theater. I didn't have a line, but it was really popular. It was huge, and people love it. And some people think it's the dumbest thing. Some people find it a bit cringe, in terms of being really patriotic and just about America being the ones that end up saving the day, and that why couldn't some of the other countries, and how they're depicted too when we're seeing the rest of the world is like, I don't know about that. So it's interesting to try to see all the pieces, but and also notice that in terms of Chief for Two, when I was just trying to think about Chief for Two, and it was hard because, like I said, I'm just there for the ride. The one thing that really got me with Chief for Two is the people who decided to be on the buildings underneath the ships, like with their signs saying, "Hey," it was a very Chief for Two like, "Pick me up, I'm a baby." Pick me up, aliens. But they're like little babies. Come pick me up, aliens, because this world is hard. So the way that people were focusing their energy towards the aliens in different ways, like pick me up, I'm bringing this to you like you're a parent figure, or bringing all their fight to the aliens so that we can get along and be on each other's side now because we have something to direct our fight to that's not each other. This theme that humanity really shows the good, and our ability to cooperate when we have some big enemy, I feel is a really flawed theme, and I wish it weren't true, because the hardest part is getting along on a day-to-day basis, slogging through the craziness of politics and helping people get through stuff. Difficult issues when everybody's disagreeing, and how do we find some kind of compromise and move through the discomfort of being humans and being on this planet. Yeah, I enjoy watching this movie, and it does get me emotionally now in a different way, but I do hate that theme. I want us all to be able to figure out how to get along and how to work the human race without having to have aliens to make us get along.
100%. What's interesting is the other Will Smith alien movie franchise is about the aliens living amongst us, and we not even know about it, right? So is it harmony, or is it just ignorance in that world? I don't know, but it is interesting that the idea that Hollywood has is it takes an alien invasion for people to come together. And it's interesting though. I mean, you have a number of different other alien topic movies, and they've all kind of centered around that this is how humanity comes together. It is also interesting that the timing, because I don't think it was who directed Independence Day. Do you remember?
His name is Roland Emmerich.
And so, he crafted this idea very similar to the Spielberg brand new movie released recently called Disclosure Day. And it's supposed to talk about, featuring Coleman Domingo, it's supposed to talk about the day that the world governments decided to admit that aliens existed. Right. And so again, the whole theme, there really hasn't been any actual released proof, right? There hasn't been a wide swath of people on planet Earth that can confirm a sighting or interaction. And so there is this Hollywood, this theatrical nature to all of this at this time, at least. But it's interesting. Going back to what you were saying earlier, they were absolutely in their baby nature in terms of like not really knowing what to do with their bodies, not being in full the sixth circle of support in terms of being their own self-supported adult parents. um, and so, yeah, I mean, it is existential too. And I think that's one of the things that is the key to it in terms of it's something that you've never seen before, interacted with before as an actual baby. You know, these are our first interactions. Chief for Two and D. Wagner teaches us that we clamor for, we reach towards the body we come out of. Now, in an alien invasion, I look at the spaceships as a new mother, so to speak, in terms of it is an existential question. Who are they? What are they? They're likely to be more powerful. We know we humans can't get to other planets, at least in that same way that they're encountering us. So, you know, and I think that is kind of the sentiment or flavor of what that scene showed.
So we talked about reach, grab, pull. We can talk about it again, I guess. Just since we end up speaking this Chi for two language and not like slowing down sometimes. So we can talk about reach, grab, pull. The very first reach, grab, pull that we do is ideally on the body we came out of as a birth crawl, and then get scooped up and brought to the breast or the bottle. Later on, we can try doing reach, grab, pull. This is a contralateral movement practice. So moving one side of the body and the other in an effort to get, if something feels stuck, unstuck, and to notice what happens in our belly when we do this. We're reaching for something that we're hungry for. And is this thing going to feed us, or is it just a quick fix? So if we're reaching for some kind of substance, like maybe an alcoholic beverage, that might be something that is literally going to change our body chemistry and make us feel a little shut down. So it will kind of bring some relief, but ultimately it won't bring that nurturing and that long-term care that we are craving, that because the reach, grab, pull is really for our early caregivers. And so, yeah, people reach, grab, pulling for the aliens. But it also feels like a very squirmy kind of pushing against to what is not me to find me. So that's why the story happens, that we're pushing against the aliens to find our bodies, and then we can find all these things that we can do. Oh man, Jeff Goldblum's character is really useful, and he wanted to it's interesting in the beginning, he's really wanting to save the planet. So he has that within him that he wants to save the planet, but he feels like it's a slow process. It's one step at a time. It's every day. It's reaching for that soda can and throwing it in the recycling bin. It's bicycling instead of driving a car, and things like that. Slower things, smaller incremental things. And then he gets into this huge, big cosmic battle and he saves the planet. But he's able to find his ability to do these things by having something to push against. It's not him, as does Will Smith's character when he was wanting to be an astronaut. He gets to fly an alien spaceship. So more ideally, you know, we don't wait around for the aliens to come for all of humanity to feel more embodied. Ideally, we have people in a chain or lineage of support, elders, parents, caregivers, teachers, doctors, employers, who can be there for the next generation's push so that they can find themselves and what they can do.
Absolutely. I just want to add to that generations, when we talk generations, it is certainly not in age. It is a matter of the space holder and the individual that is pushing. The space holder is the person that provides the resistance. So that is the coach, the therapist, the parent, the employer. And then when it comes to they that is able to push, that is the client, the student, the child of a parent. So just for clarity for our listeners.
Yeah. Jeff Goldblum's character gets to do that with his dad. So it's fun to see the multi-generational stuff happening in the different relationships in the movie. Yeah, I think that their choice of characters is interesting. I think they were trying to make it clear that the people who help save the human race are not the elites in the military or the government, that it's the regular folks on the ground. So they found some of those. The crop dusty guy,
Russ.
yeah, Randy Quaid, Russ. He clearly has a lot of trauma, and he's very funny, but he's also very sad. But yeah, his kids don't really get to do a whole lot of pushing against him, and you can see like the parentified child and his eldest son and things running everything and having to do some parenting of his dad, and but that in the end he sacrifices himself, which is sad. Rather than finding embodiment, his place um, is to give his life to save everyone, and that he's a veteran of the Vietnam War, so that tracks, and that would feel much more comfortable to him than being able to be in his body and be a parent to himself and his children.
Well, Russ, I want to talk about too. Like he kept
Yeah.
reaching. He also reached grab and pull for alcohol himself
Uh,
to feel better or to shut down
uh,
those that trauma. And when he was in the diner, just in there to get some food, there were locals kind of picking on him, being like, "Oh, sure, you aliens captured you. Sure. Oh, when you were there, did they do anything sexual to you? Ha 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 ha." And he's just like, "Yeah, it was messed up."
yeah. I don't want to say. I mean, it's hard to take because they're funny scenes, but it is very sad.
Yeah.
Like you do want to jump in there and and stand up for him a little bit, or at least I did. But but at the same time, it would have been he comes to a place where he's able to find himself a bit, and he doesn't back down from it, which is really interesting. He doesn't stop talking about it. He's like, no, aliens really did abduct me, and I guess they did in this one. I mean, he's been telling the truth. And either way, he didn't get to be completely embodied as a soldier in the military. I mean, he was being used and moved around like a pawn to fight battles and things like that. And then he got experimented on by aliens. I mean, it's been rough for Russ.
His kid's the youngest kid too, being sick all the time and
Mm.
saying, "I'm sick of being sick. I'm sick of taking this medicine."
It's tough to be a space holder when you are dealing with so much. Fathers that are uh, indulging, or they have a tendency to indulge in alcohol, are often the source of a lot of the trauma in families. And so I think it is important that when, when you are when you have succumbed to addiction, it is important to the first step is awareness of it and admitting it. So once you get to that point, it is a matter of finding that other outlets. Now, ideally, it would be a treatment to embodiment coach, therapist, somebody who is a helping professional that you can turn to when you want to reach for the bottle. Oftentimes in AA, they have sponsors. That's another similar type person who you get in contact with. Instead of reaching for the bottle, you reach for the phone, and that way you channel that energy, that reach, grab, pull for the alcohol into something else, into something different, into something that's more healthy and positive for your embodiment, for your life, for your, in this case, children.
Yeah, but it's important to feel into and really understand why you can't just stop, that it is autonomic. It's in the nervous system that I think Dee got this from Pesso Boyden system psychomotor. Emotion is motion in the body. and the emotion is meant to get a reaction. And if it doesn't get a satisfying reaction, you just keep doing it. So you will keep doing that reach, grab, pull until it is that satisfying reach, grab, pull towards an elder that is met, that satisfies that deep need. So the reach, grab, pull isn't the problem. It's just where you're able to direct it. And it is so hard to bring that reach, grab, pull to a person when for your whole development and your parents' development and their parents back and back and back and back, the patterning has been, no, do not bring your reach, grab, pull to me as a parent. Like, because the reach, grab, pull is like using your claws. So don't bring your claws to me. How dare you, child? Don't bring your claws to your mother. That messaging is so deep and so old. So it can be really hard to direct that reach, grab, pull to a coach, to a therapist, to a parent, to an elder. So reaching for help is hard. Anybody who's able to reach for help at all is amazing. It's so hard. So I applaud everybody who's able to do it and able to do that work. Yes.
I was with a good friend the other day, and we were with her mother, and there was something about her like bringing up anger, and she's like, I don't know where to put my anger, and she like almost went like this towards her mom, and her mom's like, don't bring it to me, and literally turned around and walked away. And I was so mad. I was like, oh my God. Oh yeah. It is so ingrained. It's so ingrained.
And the thing is, in that particular example, it's not even, the anger probably wasn't even about mom or wasn't even for her, but in a lots of people's cases, mom just taking a moment to see me, taking a moment to be like, hey, I understand you being angry. That is all you need. And again, that's not a indictment of the mom, because frankly, there is capacity oftentimes where parents just don't have it in and of themselves for even that moment, or to help reconcile years worth of insert whatever in a child's life. So it's unfortunate. Each generation needs a coach in order to kind of ground them in where they are naturally. Space holder, pusher, or both. A lot of people our age have children and are also taking care of their parents, right? And so it's definitely a interesting kind of tightrope walk in order to kind of recognize in what situation, who you are, how you should be interacting with everyone else in that situation in order to reach the goal of positive, healthy, clear, collaborative communication. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I feel you. I see a lot of these instances, and it's like, I want to step in, but I'm a stranger, and you've never heard of Chiba too. So how do I even get you to understand that? Like, it's in a twinkle of an eye. It's in a split second of just seeing your child, and and the effect that it does, the chest opening, the shoulder. Anyway.
Yeah.
Very important.
Well, yes, it's so important. And I'd love to share something personal. I got to experience therapy with my mom, Chi for Two, with my mom and D for the first time. Well, actually, this was the second time. The first time was 6 years ago, which it didn't go well. And this time it went really well because my mom was able to accept the fact that she was not able to catch for me. And we did a practice where I would throw my goo at my mom, and right away my mom would catch it and just throw it on over to D for her to catch. And she was like, oh, thank God I had D to throw that to, because that would have been really overwhelming for me to catch for Chelsea. And for D to acknowledge, yes, it's a practice, and you might not be able to handle it now, but the more we practice, then maybe one day you can. And just to hear those words and have my mom be like, yeah, I can't catch for her, and yeah, I'll keep practicing. So that was amazing and sad at the same time because I can see where my grandma failed to catch for my mom,
Mm,
and that's the part I need to mourn and cry about, you know. But as I
yeah.
talk about this, I reposition myself in my chair.
Hmm. A little space claiming.
A little space claiming here. That's a practice in Chief for Two, space claiming. So if you're sitting in a chair listening, you might notice that you've done this many times before, where you push into your chair to lift your bum up, and then kind of reposition in your chair. We do this a lot, and we don't
Hmm.
notice.
Yeah,
But
one of those unconscious moves
yeah,
that we just happen to do, and then eh, once you name it, once you have a name for it, you or I experience the recognition of the effect of it in your body and how it can ground you and how it can, smooth things out. And so I love that. I appreciate you sharing that. Chelsea, you don't have us crying over here in a second. I had a similar experience. Well, I had a similar experience in terms of like Achiever two attempts. And there are some other opportunities that hopefully will be presented. But I imagine that validation might have it would have brought me to tears from my mother or father. I say that much. And so I'm glad that you got that. I'm glad Dee was able to be there for your parent. Becoming an adult and getting old, feeling like it,
mhm.
you reconcile so much in what you thought your parents were. And like when you become the age that they were when they were raising you at various points in your childhood, for me, I have a new perspective on adulthood, living life in America, and how that works or doesn't. And so while there's still some things that might need to be discussed, worked out, I do have an appreciation too. And so there's alternate shoulder rolls. Listeners, alternate shoulder rolls is another contralateral movement, one of my favorites, that enables us to connect right brain and left brain, and enables us to be in decisions that, when we're faced with moments in our lives where there's one decision or another decision, two options that we have to weigh. Alternate shoulder rolls enables you to feel the energy of those options and be able to sit in the feeling of making one choice or making another choice. So I definitely can I just want to reiterate my gratitude for you sharing that for sure.
I'd love to mention something I love seeing in the movie. It was the character Jasmine and how she worked as a stripper, like a professional dancer, exotic dancer. She was one of the most embodied characters, too.
Oh, yeah.
Really making moves. She was able to move and survive and even help take care of others and pick people up in the truck that she found and started. And luckily, it had a lot of gas in it.
I think when I see her, like when the building was attacked in LA and it's like all the fire and destruction and everything is coming for her. I'm it's this whole movie is different now that I have a child, because if I were to escape Atlanta during an alien invasion or other attack, um, I would have a child with me around a little bit younger than the kids in this movie. So I think they're supposed to be around 7 or 8. At least the actors are my age now. So they were my age then.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, and how would I be able to do that? I mean, you also have to think about like how things actually work and whether that would have been a safe spot, because she did find like a little spot in a mechanical room under this bridge and everything that managed to like not get blown up or fire in it or anything like that. And it's just a very emotional moment because I'm like, would I be able to find a safe place for us? Would I be able to get us there? And would I be able to stay in my body enough, or would I just be freaking out? Would I be, deer in the headlights, shut down, like some of the people that we see Harvey Firestein's characters in the car, and he's just like, oh no. And he just gives up and takes it. And it's sad, but he's kind of funny. So, yeah, it's pretty terrifying from that respect. And so even though it is kind of a silly movie and some factually, I don't know how it would actually work, but it is really powerful to see. And she did an amazing job. And she does, and I agree, Chelsea, she does seem like one of the most embodied people there. And I don't know if that's because it's another sort of trope that there's that women just are very good at caring for other people, so she would be good at that. Or if there's something else too about her just being, she just really is in her body. So it's tricky. Yeah, and then we have her interaction with the first lady who's injured, and we think, hope maybe she's going to survive, and she doesn't. This movie does not shy away from that. Like some movies will just save those characters, but this movie did not. Spoiler alert, 30 years later, the first lady doesn't make it. And yeah, that got to me this time as a mom, just like she didn't run, in that moment she and or her husband, the president, waited before evacuating other people. There was sort of a sense of maybe it's not that bad, or I need to go down with the ship. That just isn't practical. You're that you are as a leader or as a parent, also responsible for your own self-care so that you can survive and go on taking care of others. So, ah,
Yeah, I do think a lot of, and not an expert, as I do not have any children. I do think that there is in my humble observation, a tremendous balancing act, a tightrope walk of parenting and parenting at the level you want to, and taking care of yourself so that you can do that. And so, at least, the tropes when it comes to men, Courtney and I are watching Mad Men, rewatching Mad Men. And so it's like you leave, get up, go to work, make the money, come back, food's on the table, done, right? And so they're Don Draper didn't see his kids for years. And unfortunately, that is kind of like the expectation, right? And so, regardless, you don't see to this day much time just taken for the dad or the mom in various situations to recharge for themselves, take a break so that they can parent the way they want to. I would hope that more and more parents are able to get the kind of emotional, chief or two coach, a licensed therapist, somebody who can enable them to just sit down and establish the space to breathe. Dee talks about the space to breathe being one of the most important things after the breath and food and shelter. The space to actually be able to breathe in terms of knowing what's around you, being able to experience it, being able to sit with it, knowing what's inside you, how you want to express it, all of that, very, very important. And so I hope more parents are able to achieve that balance.
And if you can do that, then you might be in your body enough to notice that all the alien ships are on top of major cities, so they're probably coordinating attacks. So you should probably just get out of there and listen to your instincts that say run. It seems like the less elite people were more embodied and more like, oh yeah, let's just go. Let's go. We'll go. Let's go. The elites were a little more frozen. My partner Daniel mentioned something because he watched it last night, and he watched the second one because he likes watching bad movies. He just can't get enough of it. Did you even know there was a second one? Because I didn't know there was a second one because it's really bad. But he noticed that Jeff Goldblum's character is interesting in that he does move really slowly, but he gets motion sick in planes. So if he's moving too fast, he gets sick. kind of might be the metaphor there.
Mm.
But he's slow, which is frustrating,
Mm.
but also can be really necessary. I thought that was an interesting take.
Yeah, and Constance, his ex-wife,
Mm.
seemed to really be, charging forward, getting the job at the White House. She left him because he wasn't like inspired enough to do more work or like to move faster. So she left him. And well, he thought she was cheating on him with the president. And that was interesting because there was like a couple moments where sexuality was in the air and talked about, like, oh, you're one of the sexiest presidents and of all time, and you kind of think,
Mm.
oh, are they together? I feel like the writing kind of made you think, are they together? Which they weren't, and that's good. That's very good. but but yeah, that was an interesting relationship. Them coming back together and her seeing him work so hard to save the world, and her being kind of like, oh, lighted up about it. Oh, he is an ideal partner, maybe. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's weird. I guess is the point of the movie to try to turn him into the more ideal hero? Because I think moving slow is a good thing. It can be this idea that you're gonna that yeah, I guess the it's so hard because I don't really see Bill Pullman as like a fighter jet pilot so much. He really seems so much more the family man, take it slow at home. So I don't know if that played as well, but he did an inspiring speech, and that's the most important thing. But but yeah, that her being so attracted to the idea of the guy that the knight in shining armor that's going to go slay this dragon. And so then becoming more attracted to Jeff Goldblum when he's not just talking about recycling.
Yeah, yeah. Goldblum's character is how progress manifests itself. You got to move slow. He methodical and careful, and so like yeah, that is how you achieve various plateaus to create progress and create success. And so it is interesting. You say that a lot of us, myself included, that want to move fast, to do things, achieve goals, what have you, often end up having to start over to reevaluate. Now, it's a lot of learning involved, and so there's good with that. But I think slow and sure and steady is probably the way. I mean, we all were taught the tale of the tortoise and the hare when we were children, right? And so at the end of the day, slow and steady does ultimately win the race. Win the race.
Something I thought was really interesting is when they were talking about the aliens and how they're very similar to humans, except they have no vocal cords.
Aliens without vocal cords, that's weird. It's very interesting. And again, it is also along the same ilk of all the other, one of these other ones, they don't have any sight. And so they can only tell where you are if by sound. I think it's the quiet place with Krasinski. Anyway, not having vocal cords, I wonder like what are they trying to say without saying it? They don't have a voice, right? Maybe. And without a voice, what does that indicate? I
Well,
don't know how to express, or I don't know how to communicate, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, I guess they have really big heads and they're supposed to like communicate telepathically, so maybe they're
Right.
all of one mind. So it seems like it would take that for them to I guess Bill Pullman, his like vision when the alien was like doing that weird sound and he's like, I saw what was in his mind.
Mm.
Is that they just live on these ships and they travel through space like locusts and destroy and deplete all planets of their resources and then move on. In order to achieve that, I think you would have to have one mind. Because somebody in there would be like, why can't we just settle down? Why do that?
Maybe we don't destroy this planet.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe now. And they kind of look like hives, I guess, sort of.
Yeah, they do. If if you think about it, it kind of seems like the human race and the aliens, they're like siblings, and they're trying to get the resources from the Mother Earth being that.
Mm.
And they're like, no, I want all the resources. No, I want all the resources. And then end up just trying to destroy each other to get what they need instead of trying to work it out, instead of the mother just kind of receiving it all and taking it and cleaning any shame about it. It's kind of interesting.
Is that what we will become? Are we going to just do that? Like, are we going to completely deplete our earth of resources and then just try to go somewhere else? I was trying to find something like that on Reddit, just completely tearing Independence Day up. But I don't think anybody wanted to even bother giving it the time because there's so many holes. Like you can't go into an alien ship with your MacBook and upload a virus. Like that's not going to happen. It's not going to work
Obviously,
like
the
that.
technology is not the same.
But it's fine because it really is just like War of the Worlds, and like the common cold is what killed those aliens, so we're giving them a cold. So it makes sense in that way. It doesn't actually make sense, but it makes sense in that way. And it is nice how Jeff Goldblum's dad gave him that idea. That Jeff Goldblum's ideas come from interacting with his dad. Like the whole thing with the signal and figuring out all that was because he was just playing chess with his dad. And then the cold thing, he got his ideas from. So it's really that me, not me dance helping him find like the solution.
The aliens and the protective field around them, their ship and their little ships was very Chiefre 2. They had their bubbles. It's a practice in Chiefre 2 we do called bubble dance, where it's like the idea that your air, your words, your sounds, whatever it might be, it's like the idea of blowing up a force field around you, in which, yes, it may pop, but you can also learn how to blow it back up. And so the aliens, they had a good force field around them until the humans got through to them with the virus. So sometimes I know I can let people kind of burst my bubble. Something might trigger me. Boop, my bubble burst, and I let people get through to me, and then I feel so disembodied. So that's kind of what I saw with the aliens and their experience with the humans. Popping their bubbles, getting through to them, destroying them.
They had a weakness there. I don't know what the weakness represents exactly, but yeah, whatever the weakness is that you find in the aliens is the strength in humans that we praise the most. This is what humans have, and you don't because you're bad aliens. So something that they were able to see. I mean, I think it was probably partly Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith's collaboration. They're very different people, but they were able to, even though they were going back and forth at each other kind of in the flight, and it was very funny, and they did great, and they had a lot of fun improv together. That was, and I think probably you could argue that part of it was faith. It usually is the thing that I think in a lot of these movies that is humans' triumph, is they have faith. So Jeff Goldblum has like a lot of left brain understanding and ability to see patterns and things, and then he has this relationship with his dad, and his dad sort of represents faith. And so the bringing those two together is kind of like sway. So in sway, you just can sway left to right. And that is another contralateral movement practice of connecting the left and right brain knowing, and right brain's timelessness, sense of connecting to the greater. And when we're able to do contralateral movement and get both of those things flowing and communicating, we can find new solutions. So the fact that humanity has both, has the indulging rhythms and the fighting rhythms, and can embody both, that's how we triumph.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. If you have any questions, please email us at chief42podcast@gmail.com. I'm Chelsea Szegidewicz.
I'm Fred Shelton.
I'm Cas Pryor.
Catch you next time.
Thanks for listening.